Years ago, I got a call from the bishop. I was sitting in a seminary class when it came in, and it said, "Jim, I need you to go to First Church Phoenix and fix Buzz." Just a seminary student. I said, "Okay, it doesn't take much to fix Buzz. He has lots of things to fix." I was so blessed to be with Buzz during that time. It was a very short time that we got to be together, but it changed my life. He was a mentor and a guide, and he helped me to see things differently than I ever had before. He helped me to become part of who I am today. And he has written a book called Running Deep with Strangers. And if you want to see the good side of Buzz's family, she's sitting over at a table. Oh, there she is, right back there. That's Lee. And she's going to be at a table back there with these books to be able, and you're going to want to get one because they're marvelous books. And you're going to want to do it just to say hi to Lee. But Buzz has done a marvelous job at saying what we say we believe in, that we see the light of Christ in each other. And he has done a good job at saying, why don't we do the hard work of actually sitting with each other and discovering that light and being intimate with each other in those moments. And so I am honored and proud to have you see Buzz Stevens, listen to Buzz Stevens, and greet him. Will you greet him with me?
I would talk to them. No, I'm going to use a manuscript, but I'll move around with it. I have to use a manuscript because if I don't, I go down little cul-de-sacs. If I come out, my wife will go, "Oh, he's gone into the cul-de-sac." But I'll try to work on it. But when Jim came before our committee on ministry, which has to pass regard to a team of people, and we had him in another room, we could vote on him. So, but we were talking about him, the members of the committee, and we were really concerned that he's very hyper, very much in terms of his energy, and he does a whole lot. I mean, he does a whole lot of stuff. And we were concerned about that. So somebody said to me, "Stevens, why don't you talk to him when he comes out?" And so I said, "Jim, I've been with you on this job, and you take on everything. The better you get, the more people put on it. And so you have, I think a little, you can probably have some ADHD." And then I said, and I got a little bit too. And the whole council, the whole committee said, "A little bit." So he really, that's where he got his problems. But this is a special place for me. I lived here for a while, was a campus minister at U of A, and also pastor here. And then I was here when they voted on the reconciling church. I was a superintendent, so I had to be there for that. It was 40 to 2, I think, in about 3 years on Skid Row in LA. It was not an evangelistic effort. It was a denominational project to try and get to know people on the streets. I got to meet people on the streets, and they got to know me. I didn't grow up in a church. I came into it later. I thought everybody would be open with their feelings, whether it's anger, rage, fear, sexual urges. I really thought that. And then when I started going to church, I thought, I wonder when they're going to come at me. And nobody did. But in the streets, street people, transients, they could be totally transparent on every issue. Loss of love, rage, fear, sex, anything. And so I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll tell them mine. And it was really healthy for me. I was single, lonely, and for about 10 years I didn't have I had girlfriends, but nothing happened since a relationship. But those things really fed me. And then I'm thinking about Jesus when he encounters chief tax collector, Zacchaeus. And he comes up. I think the street ministry helped me figure that out, and so I was on that stuff in my book. So, and I think it's important, I really do. And I'll share you how I came to this, I hope, in terms of encountering people that I never met, because it's very, very difficult. And you really did take one of these, didn't you? I thought you were kidding. Oh, here it is. That's the old joke about the Adam and Eve, you know. There's some guys up there, and all of a sudden, it says like, about Adam, I can't find my leaf. What is it? Stuff. Fear, anger, all kinds of stuff. For about half hour. And all of a sudden she just stopped. And she looked at me and she said, you got 25 minutes of me inside me. I want 25 minutes of you. All of a sudden she's very aggressive. I thought she was kind of a kook. She was really sharp. And so I married to a sharp woman, so they all scared me. So I panicked, and she said, well, come across, let's hear it. You know, you had mine. And so all of a sudden she said, well, what do you do for a living? Well, that's a weird one, because you know, when you're on a flight, you know that, Doug and others, Jim, we're on a flight, and all of a sudden you tell somebody they're having a glass of wine, they'll say, oh, I'm just going to have this one glass forever, that's all I can do. Give it to me, you know. But then, and then others will have a scripture lesson from the Old Testament, and it's some sort of obscure thing, and they remember some words, but they ask me, where is it in the Bible, this line? I have no idea. I don't know whether it's Shakespeare or what. And I don't want to say I know. If I say I know, I feel like a fraud. So I said to her, because I was teaching at the University of Theology, so I said, I'm in theology. Oh my gosh, she said, that's ironic. So what? I have a rock collection. The whole family goes for the cats, so I didn't do so I still wasn't quite ready to open up, I guess, because when I was campus minister then, I decided to have the students, 25 students or so, they're mostly freshmen, to go up to Prescott for a day and run deep with people. I mentioned this, they said, what? I said, well, let's see if we can run deep with people. They thought I was crazy. I said, well, let's just go up there and see if we can pull this off. And so they risked it. They didn't know what was going on. So I just told them, and we got there, and I said, now, we're going to spend 2 hours. I want you to find somebody that you can go just a little deep for, beyond chatter, beyond superficial talk. Just see if you can find somebody to do that. And after 3 hours, they started coming back. And some of them had some great moments. But they were all listening to deep stuff. They were not letting it out. And so I affirmed it for them. But there was a young woman, very attractive, first freshman. She couldn't wait. I did it. I said, what'd you do? Well, I'm a freshman, and we've just been here a couple months, and my parents paid for this tuition, and they were excited about me coming to the university. I didn't have to work, so I was so privileged, but I feel like what if I flunk out? What if I fail? That scares me. And then, you know, I don't have a friend. I don't have a close friend like I had when I left my town, and that bothers me. So I stay awake at night thinking about this. And she said, I haven't even told my parents about this, anybody about it. And he said, well, listen to me. The barber says, I've been in this job for 37 years. And it's fantastic. We don't open up as much as women do when they hair grow on, but we open up and we tell jokes, and it's been a fantastic thing for me. I love the first day I did it, but I have to retire in 2 months. And I don't want to, but I got to do it. And I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to leave a community, and it scares me, because we ran some deep stuff. So you're talking about. And she said, did you tell anybody? I didn't even tell anyone. I haven't told anybody. Wow, she said. I think I'm going to get a A+ on this project. And he said, you don't get it, I'll make sure you do. And that caused me to say, it's time to really open up and risk it. And so I have to read this one, of course, because I'll leave half of it out. It was a long flight. It was a long flight from where to where, but it was a 5-hour flight. Well, it was from the east end to the west end. And I sat down, and there was a young man next to me. And I learned he was a Jordanian. His name was Bashar. And he started talking. And it turned out he's from Jordan, lives in Jordan. We'll go back to Jordan. And he graduated, going to Motorola for an interview. And he said, my 4 brothers have come and done this, and my father. So it's a big privilege to come to America to do this. I said, great. And then we got kind of fun, and they gave us a peanuts, you know, I mean, in sacks. I could never open them up. I always give them to my wife, but I said, he couldn't open up his either. So I said, let's just trade. No, we didn't. And all of a sudden, we start talking about stuff. And we started opening up. And I was really excited, because I don't think I've ever entered into a Muslim's life. And I thought I could do this. And then finally, of course, he had to ask, what do you do for a living? Oh, geez, I'm going to run into the geology thing again. And so I said, I'm a minister. I talked to Elizabeth. People sometimes rather conservative in tears. Yeah. And as I walked by, he was mouthing that. And I was in tears. I was in tears. I never had anybody quite like that in my life. We can have those intimate moments. We have to have